from Inky and Scrappy, joining you today with card 2 in my Brewing Up Creativity with Jamie from Inky and Scrappy class that I do locally. I do them on YouTube just to share in the fun. They are in real time because, you know, that's how we do them in class. Real time. I do have extra kits available on Etsy if it's something that you're interested in. Please don't feel obligated to buy them. If you have this stuff on hand, go for it. If you have, and really the kits are only the paper pieces. In class stuff, I actually supply everything because a lot of them don't actually craft or card make, I guess, paper craft. There we go. And so I walk them through it step by step with the products that I have on hand. So this time we had done, if you are joining me after the second one, our first one was I think it's dry, but I'm not positive. So the first one was the Shutter card. Whoops, I have two of them because, you know, I just got done making a second one. So here is the Shutter card that we did for the first one. We were coloring with Gamsol. I said I would test it out and let you know if it worked with Vaseline because I've read that you can do it. I did it. Here's my Vaseline one and here is my Gamsol blended one. You can definitely tell the difference. I did not actually dip my pencils into the Vaseline because it will eat your lead up. Well, not lead, it's like a wax, I guess. It'll eat your pencil color up. And so it blended. If you don't have Gamsol and you want to try it, go for it. I actually put it on the end of a blending stump. Not that one. I used my kind of cranky, icky one and did it that way. Is it dry? Nope, it's not dry yet. It'll take a little bit of time to dry, probably a couple of days, I would say. I really don't know. I know it goes away over time. So that's, you know, I said I'd try it. I tried it. I'll probably stick with Gamsol. But if you can't get Gamsol, that's an option for you. The other option that you would have is, I know they have like blending pencils. I was gonna say, I know I just had one. I just put one away. So this, you know, Prisma has a colorless blender. Maybe that's an option. If you can't get Gamsol, if you want a better blended look. But here is the second card that we are creating. This one is a lot simpler than the first one. So I usually do one difficult one that's a lot less complicated than the first. So we usually try to get them done within a 2-hour time frame, and we tend to chat a little bit because, you know, as the ladies get to know each other, we tend to, you know, jibber jab a little bit more. So to start, I have all of my pieces minus my card base because I haven't grabbed that yet. Let me grab myself a card base. And so for this one, we are going to do the ink, or not ink, I guess we're color penciling again. And then it's a fairly simple put together the rest of the card. It's not a difficult layout one. This one is a lot bigger image than my last one. You know, the last one is this big and this one is this big. So these were extra sitting on my desk. I have, see, isn't he cute? This one I did with the green. This one I did all pinks and purples and reds. I have another one laying around here somewhere. If I can find it. I can see it. I just can't touch it. Here we go. This one I did with some oranges and trying to match the stripe in there. So the oranges, purples. I was just playing with my Gamsol and my colored pencils. So, you know, all of those are options. But, so we will start with this one. I am again just using the Crayola colored pencils. I'm going to use what we're using in class. So don't feel like you need to have the Prismacolor pencils or the I think polychromos are a big thing, right? I have Prismacolor pencils. I love my Prismacolor pencils, but I'm all for using what I have on hand. So I think I'm going to use, this one is a jade green. I was kind of looking for it, and there's a yellow green, but I'm kind of looking for a dark, but I think I want to say I probably did some ink blending with some brown. I need a brown for my shoes, a black for my soles, probably a little bit of gray for his beard. For his skin, I used a peach color, and then I did bring in a pink, and or I think this one I did kind of with a brown. This one I added some pink in there. There's a little bit tanner of skin, and we'll throw in, if I add pink, I'm probably just going to use the blender. So for my heart, I think I'm going to do the pink and probably some purple. Let's go in with the violet. I mean, I have extra options available. I could definitely pull in some reds. It's not picky use. You know, I'm trying to go with my pattern paper, so that's where I'm kind of pulling my colors from for my colored pencils to make it matchy per se. Again, I'm going to go in with my darker colors. I'm just going to go in and lay where my darker shadows are. I don't know, that's how I color with Gamsol. Other people color differently with Gamsol. That's just my style of coloring with Gamsol. So for the hat, I want to do some darker shades. And it doesn't have to look too pretty. I'm going to add in maybe a little bit of a shadow in there. And then I think his bill of his hat kind of comes up here, so there's going to be some shadow in there. It'll be a little bit darker, and then we'll go on the outside. It doesn't even have to look pretty coloring with the colored pencil when you're using Gamsol. Just give a rough estimate of where I want that color to be in there. There's just something about a gnome with a green hat. I don't know. Is it that natural gnomey? I don't know. I like them with red hats too. You know. I don't think I want a brighter green. I think I like that shade of green. I might pull in a little bit of brown here. I don't know if I want to do the brown yet. We could do a little bit of brown here. Kind of grunge them up a little bit here. Pull in some browns over here. And then wherever I want my darkest shadows to lay, I think I'm going to throw in a little bit of brown. I can adjust color on that one later. I know that I'm going to want brown for his boots. So I'm just going to lay down where I want that darkest color to be. And the same with the black. I kind of like to do the darker kind of on that back shadow there. Underneath the heel towards where the bottom is. And that one. Do I want to make his little mittens? What color? I could do them green. That would probably be cute. I could do them green on the other ones, but let's try them in green. I think they might be cute. I think the brown was just, I didn't like the brown. And this one, I kind of matched them with the hat. So yeah, let's match them with the hat. And then for my little tufts there, I'm just going to do some lighter tan. And then, whoops, here we go. And for my actual skin, because it's such a light tone, I'm just going to actually color the whole thing with the skin. You wouldn't have to. I just find that that ivory tone or the peach tone gets lost in there. I'm going to come in with that lighter brown and add some darker shade in where I think I'm gonna want it. And then I think if I add pink, I'm gonna do that after I color the heart. So I'll just probably do a tip touch one on that one if I choose to go that route. I'm gonna color that one in there. I'm gonna do a two-tone heart like I did with the other one because I like that color blend in the middle. I'm not going in too dark, I'm just kind of laying in a light. And then of course, the beard. I always struggle with this one. I think if I'm pulling it up from the bottom, I think I get a nicer, a stragglier, is that the word I'm looking for? A stragglier beard look. I think this is where I struggle, where it's just all, it doesn't have the little curls, because the little curls I know I can come up from. And I want to get a little bit of movement in there, so there we go. And then we're just gonna go like that. That's all I'm laying down for color. Pretty basic, straightforward. Doesn't take me a whole lot of time to get that color laid in there. And then I gave myself real estate again. I'm just trying to clean off. I had purple on one, purple and blue because I just got done with the other, right? So I'm just gonna make sure my nib here is fairly clean. And of course I'm gonna start with my lightest tones. I can either start with the gray on this one or I can start with the peach. I think I'm gonna start with the peach just because I don't want it to have a muddled tone to it. And so I'm just gonna blend that in. I'm gonna pick up some more Gamsol. I might have still had enough Gamsol on my blending brush here, or blending stub, to make it work. I think I like that. I think I want just a little bit more of a shadow, so I'm gonna bring in a little bit darker brown here. And just pick that up and kind of rub that in. Ah, I like it. So there is my little Nomi. And then since I have brown on here, let's go in and do my boots right away. Just gonna blend that in. Oh, what is back there? So this gnome is from Trinity Stamps. It's an older release one, I do believe. I love her gnomes. They're just adorable. They're kind of bigger, at least bigger images. I like watercoloring them. This one is fun to do it this way. Since I have that brown in there, let's go and kind of feather out our little poofy lines here. And then let's go in and do that green. I think I'm going to end up having to pick up some more. Oh, nope, I still have enough Gamsol on my blending stump here that I should be good. So we're going to blend out that green. Since it's a small area, I really don't need, I suppose, as much Gamsol to make it blend. There's the green, and then I am gonna go in now and add some for my hat here, because that's a fairly good area. I don't know if I should add that brown in right away, but I did, so we're gonna work with it. I think I should have done the green and then come back with the brown, but oh well. So I'm going to try to avoid touching that brown part. I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up adding some more green in here, but alright. Now I'm just going to come through and blend the rest of this out. I'm gonna want some more green in there. See how the brown like really overpowered my green? I probably should have colored it green first and then come back in with the brown and dirtied it up a little bit. Oh, well, such is life, right? If at first you don't succeed, try again. I'll go with a little heavier hand there. There we go. That's looking a little bit greener, more of the green that I want. I'm going to go back in with some Gamsol again and then just kind of blend that out, getting more of that green into that brown. Okay, back to blending. Like it. Alrighty. So we have this one going. Let's see, I'll just add. I'm muddying up that green a little bit there. I just have the black and the gray and the red to do yet. So, making sure my blending stump is clean on the other end. I am going to start with the gray in the beard because it's my lightest tone and I really don't want to make it too dark. I'm really just trying to soften that line out a little bit there. Because I kind of want to keep the integrity of my little shading line because it is hair and beard and I don't want it all to be gray. I just want to add. I think that's good. And then we'll come in and do the soles of his boots here. I'm going to come back in and hit that highlight area once my blending stump is pretty much out of color. And then for this one, I'm just going to hit that with a darker shade in there. And do this one again. I'm going to come in and do that one right away. There we go. And so, do I want to see? I think that's pretty good. I need to do a red yet. Ooh, it's squeaky. Sorry if you don't like the squeaks. I'm just turning it. If you have more than one blending stump, you're more than welcome to switch out your blending stumps. I really do only use my one blending stump when I do it. The other thing you can do is to kind of take some sanding paper and kind of sand down the tip a little bit. You know, if you go at the angle that your brush is, you will help to sharpen that again. I just don't like to usually sand them when they're wet. I like to wait until they're dry to sand them. But that's one way, another way to get the color off of the tip if you're only using one or two blending stumps and you don't want to mix your colors. I'm going to come in and pick up my pink first and blend out the darker to the outside and then blend it into the middle so it's lighter in the middle. I'm going to come back in and pick up some of that darker tone and then just add a little bit onto the cheek and your nose, because you know, I think he needed a little bit of a little pink highlight in there. And then I'm going to come in on the purple side and do that same, blend it so it's darker, and then blend that all into the middle, and then I can blend them together so I get that pinky purple blended heart in the middle. And it's pretty much done. I don't know if I like my hat on this one as much. I suppose I could go in with just a gray and kind of do some shading. I don't know. It really looks about the same. So, yeah. Doing some cross hatching to make it look like fabric, I suppose. And then this side's pink. This side's not. Well, maybe it is. What side? What color is that one? That one's black, I think. So I'm just gonna soften those lines a little bit there. And there is my image rip-roaring and ready to be added to my card base. So I'm gonna just pop that up. I just used some washi tape to keep them in there so then we can use them for later on. I do not have my sentiment stamped out yet, and my sentiment is not over here. I will get to that one in a little bit. This one is fairly simple style design wise. We're going to take our card base and I'm just going to do dry adhesive on this one. I know, it doesn't happen too often, does it? And pop that down on the middle. So this one is cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4, giving it a very thin border all the way around. This one I cut extra big for the sole purpose of I didn't want to have to make sure that I cut them just right, because, you know, sometimes my measuring skills aren't on par. This way I can pop that down just a little bit from the top there, so it's probably just under 1/2 inch from the top, and I will just run that straight across and then take my scissors from the back side and just snip off the overhang there. This way it goes from edge to edge and I don't have to worry about if I didn't cut it quite right, you know, having white hang out there. I didn't want that look. So this one we can, you know, go straight underneath it. I planned on going just above it, so my lines here, there's just a little bit of an overhang there. So I'm just going to add some tape runner there, and I think we'll go right about here. Trying to line it up so I have it in the center, and of course it's on camera, so it's not going to be on center. And then just a little bit up from this part, so it's a little less than 1/2 inch again, probably. I don't know why that looks crooked. It's really not that crooked. And my image that I colored today, and we will pop him up on some foam adhesive. I am just using some foam squares. These ones, I want to say I got them from the Dollar Tree. Yeah. Did you know that the foam adhesive squares from the Dollar Tree work pretty good? And price-wise, they're the cheapest I can find. I'll put one more in the middle just because, you know, that way we're fully covered here. So I'm going to pop him on here. And I'm going to add some glitter sickles to his heart here. Not a thick layer. I'm going to keep it, you know, I squeeze out a little bit and then I just use the tip to, otherwise it'll take forever to dry. But that way he's got a little bit of glitter on his heart. And it should dry fairly quickly. At least here, this time of year, it's really dry on the inside of the house. So it tends to dry rather quickly. I need to grab my Misty and my stamp set that actually has my sentiment in there. So I will be right back and we will finish that up. Alright, so I ran and got my stamp set. It was already in my class stuff. So I am using the Joyful Heart set from Trinity Stamps. That is where the gnome comes from. And you bring joy to my heart for my sentiment on this one. And I'm just going to pop that right in my negative from cutting out my little sentiment strips. So this way I can kind of measure it. Make sure it is lined up in there. I'm gonna try to make sure we are on center there. And to just run a test stamp, we're just gonna stamp this without the thingy in there. See if it's in the right spot. Probably bring this one down. And this way I can actually stamp it. I still have adhesive on the back panel there, because this is the piece that I used for stamping all of my images. So by stamping it this way, not moving the stamp and just moving my negative, I can make sure that it's going to line up where I want it on my stamp strip here. And I'm going to just pop that in. And it should pop right on in there. And then I can just do, and there's a little bit of adhesive on there, so it should hold it in place. I will re-ink my stamp up here. I can pop that in there. It looks like it's good. Since I was using the Misty, I just grabbed the mementos because it was on my desk. And then I will pull this one out with my tweezers. I will probably just leave that stamp already set up in there for tomorrow night. And for this one, I'm just going to add some glue. You could add tape runner if that's what you are using. I just grabbed the glue today. And then I'm going to line that up. I'm trying not to touch the actual ink part of it because it's probably still moist, and I over glued like majorly. I'm just going to use a Kleenex here to sop up that excess. It'll dry clear. You're not going to see it, but it annoys me, so that's how I roll. Now my other one has a couple of little gems on it, or sequins, so I'm just gonna add a couple of sequins on this one. I like to work in odds. I'm just gonna do 3. I really don't think it needs more than that. This one is a fairly simple one, so keeping it fairly simple. And these ones kind of have an iridescent shine to them. Where did they come from? It's a good question. I think they came from a sequence mix that I picked up a while ago. It was like a reds and oranges and pinks. So there is my finished little gnome Valentine card. You bring joy to my heart. And of course, I kept my Valentines fairly non-Valentine-y, so they're just, you know, sweet. little lovey-dovey, I don't know if it's a lovey-dovey, just sweet cards that you could mail anytime, that you could use for birthdays or just, you know, thinking of you. It's all good. So, alright, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed creating with me today. Again, I will have leftovers on my Etsy shop. Don't feel like you need to buy them off of Etsy if you have the products available to you. Gamsol is fun. It's fairly cheap. Don't buy the big bottle. Just buy a little bottle. I mean, I have had this one, which is maybe a 3-ounce one, for a very long time. It lasts a very long time. So, yeah, it should be, you know, it's a fun new medium. I would say new medium because colored pencils are super cheap to pick up. Even just the Crayola ones that we use for class are super cheap to pick up, a 24 pack. And you don't need anything extra to create with them. So it's a fun change in mediums for me. I don't usually do colored pencils. So I hope you have a good one. Keep getting inky. Bye. Oh, you can't see my hand. Bye.